What's up, guys? It's been a while since I did any type of truck video for you guys. You all know I have two vehicles now, and since I'm losing my 1099 contractor for our rodent services, it's back to me to do it all. So I figured I would turn my other truck while we don't have a technician in it into a wildlife and termite strictly truck. So I just wanted to give you guys kind of a part two to the original video of how my truck is set up. Now, just give you kind of a rundown on our wildlife and how to set up your wildlife truck. A little bit of termite in there as well, but that's pretty basic, of course. So either way, let's just get right into it. First thing you're going to notice that we have set up, of course, is our little one-way traps. Those are for setting up one-way exit traps for squirrels specifically. Rats can technically get through there as well, but for the most part, we just use them for squirrel jobs. I'll show you the bigger setup from the back in a second. You see these big mats, of course, these are good to have on the roof, like when you're laying down under a roof return. Just kind of helps you from sliding around or ripping your clothes up, all that stuff. Now, this is kind of a broader view. I know it probably looks like a mess, but believe it or not, it's actually pretty well organized. So those giant rolls of metal are gutter coil metal. It's what we use to seal up roof returns specifically, versus just junky, easy to break and flex flashing that you generally see a lot of contractors use. This stuff is actually what, gutters are made out of, and it matches the gutters as well. So generally speaking, when you think about it, looking at all these homes here, it's going to match, generally speaking, to what the fascia and soffit kind of looks like as well. So we have a ton of those rolls. We do have them organized based on what we use the most. Then, of course, we have our two live traps as well, the little one inside of the big one. Big one is what we're going to use primarily for like possums or raccoons, that kind of stuff. The smaller, I say small, it's actually about a medium-sized one in there. We would use for maybe some skunks, especially like smaller ones, not necessarily the mom. If we're trying to catch mom, we're probably going to use the bigger one as well. A lot of times even, we'll use both of them at the same time for skunk jobs. Those are kind of their own crazy, situation, of course. But then we got kind of a little 5-gallon bucket here, just full of like our gloves, caulking, measuring tools. This is good for, measuring our angles for what we're cutting, all that good type of stuff. Got a battery down in there for our drill as well. And then we got some more one-way traps. We got like a medium-sized one, large-sized one. You're probably wondering what the heck's going on with this one. This is actually a custom-made one. We took one and we used some other material and actually created it for different types of situations. Really, it's kind of hard to explain if or when I have to use it. Same thing with this one down here. If or when I have to use them, I'll take a picture to show you guys, maybe even do a video on it, because they definitely do come in handy. So it's not something that we're going to want to take apart. It fits into these tight roof return areas very, very well. So yeah, it's definitely something that, is good to have. And then of course we got some smaller, cheaper hardware cloth, of course, for every little situation calls for different materials. You don't always need this heavy gauge material that is just super heavy duty. Sometimes you can get by with some of that cheaper stuff that you can get from Home Depot. Don't recommend it too often. That's why, hence, we've had the same one in the wrapper here for like 2 years now. We have one that we originally opened up down there from, even further back. So we don't use it often, but again, has its, case and use. Now this is going to be actually kind of the more boring and straightforward part of the episode today. We of course got some basic rat traps. We got our it is steel wool, but it's actually excluder. It's I've actually mentioned using excluder in the past on this channel. We have some 1-inch as well as some 4-inch down in there. The 1-inch is really good for like weep holes and that type of stuff. Then of course we got a case of washers for when we're mounting our rodent-proof cages onto the roof over the vents as well. Of course, you want to, put some roofing tar over those as well. Caulk at the minimum. That way, over your screws. That way, you're not having to worry about any leaks or anything like that. Now to the old back of the truck. Of course, some basic stuff like a tool belt. We got our handy-dandy cougar paw boots. These are amazing for walking on the roof. Occasionally, you'll need to change out these bottoms. These aren't quite ready for changing. I can probably get at least another half a dozen homes out of these specifically. Yeah, at least half a dozen, maybe more. They're about 50, 60 bucks to change. These cougar paws, when I bought them, they're around, I want to say 275 bucks roughly. I think anymore, thanks to old Bidenomics, it's something like $300 or $400 now. But then, of course, we got our other miscellaneous things that we're going to use, like screws, some screws with, you know, sealant washers, that kind of thing. Got our hog rings for when we're making our cages in the field. We try to make them ahead of time, but sometimes you didn't realize there's one extra one up there, and then, you know, you got to make another one on the fly, right? So just a good little handy, you know, thing to have here. Just so, again, just screws and all that type of stuff. And then, of course, ideally you want to keep your front seat pretty clean. This is honestly the cleanest it'll probably look for the rest of the year. I almost forgot for the termite side of things, just real quick. Of course, we got our same little 35-gallon rig set up, nothing crazy. Ideally, I would like to upgrade to at least a 50-gallon. Usually 50 gallons is more than enough for using Termidor SE, which is what we use specifically at Preferred Pest Management. And, you know, we got the, you know, 300-foot hose as well. So this has been our nice and good little setup for 3+ years now. Hasn't given us any issues or anything. And then, of course, we got our bag of Ryobi batteries just for, you know, to have more than enough juice on the job. Never want to run out of batteries or anything like that. We got our little bag of everything, is what I like to call it. You know, we got some little thin snips, which is actually a garden tool, I believe. But these definitely come in handy for just quick and easy, you know, cutting. Very easy little tool to use. They're very sharp on top of that, so it's very easy just to cut something real quick. Not necessarily metal. Haven't tried it with metal, actually. Of course, you got your tape measure, you got your pencil, you got your metal bender, which I just ordered a new 6-inch one. This is just a standard 3-inch one, I believe. Still comes in handy. There's a time and place for the 3-inch one, but the 6-inch one will make doing the job much faster as well. And then I didn't even want to open this up because it's just such a pain in the butt to constantly open and shut, because I literally fill it up to the max. But of course, you know, some good old handy knee pads. You want be easy on your knees, and also, you know, it also sticks. The material sticks pretty decently to the roof as well, believe it or not. Then of course, you know, some roofing snips for cutting our metal. 2 different drills, one more compact, like a little impact drill, I believe is what they were called, for like really tight spots on the roof return. They even make a smaller version that I'm thinking about getting here, especially if we continue to grow on the wildlife side of things. And then, of course, the bigger one just comes in handy in all sorts of situations, right? And then from there, of course, we got a whole bunch of different kinds of drill bits for every type of situation. Just some other, you know, little miscellaneous stuff in there. Sometimes these little things can come in handy when you're trying to, you know, pinch your metal in back behind something, or for some reason behind a shingle or something of that nature. It's just nice to, you know, have these little things come. I forget what they're even called. I used to call them like shims, but I know they're not shims, of course. It's just, you know, a little pinpoint tool. You can hammer the backside of it. Has a little spot where you can hammer them, and yeah, pretty good little nifty tool to have as well. See what I mean? Not even going to bother zipping it back up. Just going to leave it as it is until the next job. Oh, by the way, always good to have some jumper cables on hand. My battery just recently went out on this truck finally, so gonna have to change that. And then I guess just some basic stuff as well. You know, we got our little pop socket thing. You know, I have a pop socket on one of my phone cases, and it's cool to have this here. That way it's just right in my face. It helps with doing YouTube videos for you guys as well. Got the old Steely mount over there as well for my other phone case. I have 2 phone cases for each phone. You know, I have one, like I said, with a pop socket, one with the little Steely mount on the back as well. And I have a case that is super easy to take on and off. That way for each situation, I am ready to go. And got a feeling we're going to fail inspection with this cracked windshield. Y'all that are still watching, let me know, you know, what do you think? Do you think we're going to fail inspection? It's definitely in the eyesight. I think it's going to fail inspection. Hence why it's 2 months expired. Now, I didn't show, you know, the ladder rack back there on the truck because my ladders are not actually on the truck. I'm going to show you real quickly kind of our ladder setup. Don't judge my garage. I'm literally going through all of this today while shooting this video. All the metals and stuff we just got moved out that we use on a daily basis. But let's just get right to this. Of course, we got our 2 ladders. One is a, I believe, 30-footer, if I recall, 28 or 30-footer. Then the other one is just like 20 or 22 feet. We got this stabilizer, which in my opinion is a must. It's an absolute must. It makes doing the job just feel so much safer. Your ladder's not just going wonky all over the place. I also have another tool coming in as well for ladders. It's kind of like a ladder stabilizer, but for gutters specifically. So I'll definitely show you guys that once that comes in. And then of course we still got like some more metal, some more tools, some tools that I was going too fast and spilled all over the place. Yay. And yeah, I mean, that I think pretty much wraps up this video. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of do a little part two. We got another little step. We got two step ladders actually. I believe that's a 4 or 5 footer. The other one is a 6 footer. Probably going to be getting an 8 or 10 footer before long as well, for those situations where there's not really a good way to get to the second floor. You know, those horrible type of roof setups. And then we got some other things on the way as well. Like I said, I'll do kind of a part two to this at some point, just with other equipment that'll come in handy for you guys. One is called just giving you guys a little sneak peek. One is called the pitch hopper. It's an amazing tool that I'm interested to get my hands on. It looks it looks like it's fun, in all honesty. It makes getting on a roof fun. The other tool that we're getting is, of course, like a safety harness setup with some reusable anchor points as well, which makes, of course, walking a roof safe, more safe than ever to begin with. The last tool, I believe, I forget off the top of my head, like I said, that gutter ladder stabilizer as well. There's one or two. Oh, I got a drone recently. I'm horrible at it, but I'll have to do some little videos with that drone for you guys to see how we're going to use that with quoting wildlife jobs. So if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe below. We just hit 2,300 subs the other day. Shout out to all of you all for making it happen. If you're not in our Discord and Facebook groups, go ahead and join those down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.